Most people think being highly aware is a gift. They think the people who notice everything have some kind of advantage, and sometimes they do. They're the first to notice when someone's mood changes, the first to sense tension in a room, the first to catch the tiny hesitation in someone's voice that everyone else misses. But what if I told you that some of the most perceptive people aren't seeing more because they're smarter? They're seeing more because their brain never learned how to stop looking. Think about that for a second. Why do some people walk into a room and immediately scan every face? Why do they replay conversations for hours after everyone else has moved on? Why do they notice things nobody else seems to see, yet feel exhausted by the end of the day? Here's the strange part. What many people call intuition, emotional intelligence, or heightened perception can sometimes be something else entirely. Something that began years before they ever realized it. A hidden psychological pattern that keeps the mind constantly alert, constantly processing, and constantly searching for things that might be wrong. And once you understand it, you may never look at your own awareness the same way again. Because the ability to notice everything isn't always a gift. Sometimes it's a survival strategy. And for many people, it's one they never realized they were carrying. In this video, we're going to explore the psychology of people who are too aware, why they notice things others miss, why that awareness can become exhausting, and what it actually takes to find peace without losing the part of yourself that sees the world so clearly. A woman sits quietly at a dinner table with a group of friends. Everyone is laughing. The conversation is flowing. Nothing seems wrong. But halfway through the evening, she notices one person suddenly becoming quieter. She catches a forced smile that lasts half a second too long. Then she notices the way another person avoids eye contact when a certain topic comes up. On the drive home, everyone else forgets about the evening. She doesn't. Her mind keeps replaying tiny moments. Was someone upset? Did she say something wrong? Was there tension nobody talked about? By midnight, she's analyzing conversations that everyone else stopped thinking about hours ago. The strange part is that she's often right. She does notice things other people miss. But what she doesn't realize is that her brain may be carrying a burden that comes with seeing so much. And that's where the psychology gets interesting. The gift of seeing what others miss. If you've ever been told you're observant, intuitive, or unusually perceptive, there's a good chance you've spent much of your life noticing things other people overlook. You notice when someone's smile doesn't quite reach their eyes. You notice when a friend says they're fine, but something in their voice says otherwise. You notice subtle shifts in mood, energy, body language, and behavior before anyone else seems aware of them. To other people, it can almost seem like a superpower. And in some ways, it is. Human beings are pattern-detecting creatures. Your brain is constantly collecting information from the environment and looking for meaning. Some people are naturally better at this than others. They spot connections faster. They pick up inconsistencies. They recognize emotional cues that never make it into words. This is one reason highly aware people are often good at reading situations. They can walk into a room and immediately sense whether people feel comfortable, tense, confident, or disconnected. But here's where things become interesting. The ability to notice everything doesn't automatically tell us why we're noticing everything. And that's a distinction most people never think about. Because sometimes awareness comes from wisdom. Sometimes it comes from experience, and sometimes it comes from something much deeper. Something the brain learned long ago. When awareness becomes hypervigilance. Imagine growing up in an environment where moods changed without warning. Maybe someone in the home had a short temper. Maybe conflict could appear suddenly. Maybe affection felt unpredictable. Maybe you never knew what version of someone you were going to meet on a particular day. In situations like these, the brain adapts. It starts paying closer attention. It learns that noticing small details can provide an advantage. A shift in tone might signal an argument. A certain facial expression might predict rejection. A particular silence might mean trouble is coming. Over time, the brain becomes highly skilled at scanning for information. This process is known as hypervigilance. Hypervigilance is the state of remaining unusually alert to potential threats, changes, or emotional signals in the environment. The important thing to understand is that hypervigilance doesn't feel like fear. Most people imagine a hypervigilant person constantly looking terrified. That's rarely what it looks like. More often, it looks like someone who notices everything. Someone who is always reading the room. Someone who struggles to completely relax. Someone who feels responsible for understanding what everyone else is feeling. And because they've been this way for so long, they often mistake it for their personality. They don't realize it may have started as a survival strategy. The strange relationship between awareness and overthinking. This is where many highly aware people become trapped. The same brain that notices details begins trying to analyze them. Every detail feels important. Every facial expression needs interpretation. Every pause in a conversation feels meaningful. Every unanswered text becomes a mystery to solve. The mind starts creating explanations. Maybe they're upset. Maybe I said something wrong. Maybe something bad is about to happen. Maybe I missed something. The problem is that awareness gathers information. Overthinking tries to control uncertainty. And uncertainty is something the hyper-aware brain struggles to tolerate. So instead of simply noticing information, the mind begins investigating it. Hours later, a simple interaction has turned into a full psychological investigation. Not because the person enjoys overthinking, but because their brain has learned that paying attention feels safer than not paying attention. The hidden cost nobody talks about. Most discussions about awareness focus on the benefits. Very few people talk about the cost. Because noticing everything means processing everything. The average person may filter out dozens of details every minute. The hyper-aware person often doesn't. They notice the tension, the noise, the expressions, the emotional undercurrents, the subtle changes, the inconsistencies, the possibilities, the potential problems. Their brain treats all of it as important. Imagine carrying dozens of open tabs in your browser every moment of the day. Eventually, the system slows down. This is why many highly aware people feel mentally exhausted, even when nothing dramatic has happened. Their energy isn't being drained by events. It's being drained by processing. They've been monitoring, analyzing, interpreting, and anticipating for hours without realizing it. And because this process often happens automatically, they blame themselves for feeling tired. They think they're weak, lazy, too sensitive, when in reality, their brain has simply been working overtime. Why highly aware people struggle to relax? Have you ever noticed that some people can switch off almost instantly? They leave work and stop thinking about it. They have an awkward conversation and move on. They hear bad news and continue with their day. Highly aware people often find this difficult to understand because their brain isn't built around switching off. It's built around monitoring. Even during quiet moments, part of the mind remains active, scanning, checking, observing, preparing, looking for information. This doesn't mean something is wrong with them. It means their nervous system may have become accustomed to operating in a state of heightened alertness. The challenge is that the brain cannot remain in that mode forever, without consequences. Eventually, awareness starts becoming exhaustion. Observation becomes anxiety. Sensitivity becomes overwhelm. And the very ability that once helped them navigate the world begins making the world feel heavier. Learning to keep the gift without carrying the burden. Here's the good news. The solution isn't becoming less aware. The goal isn't to stop noticing things. The goal is to stop treating every piece of information as a responsibility. Highly aware people often believe that because they notice something, they must do something about it. But awareness and responsibility are not the same thing. You can notice someone's mood without carrying it. You can recognize tension without fixing it. You can observe a problem without making it your burden. The healthiest form of awareness isn't constant vigilance. It's selective attention. It's knowing when to engage and when to let go. It's teaching the nervous system that not every signal requires action. Not every silence needs interpretation. Not every possibility needs investigation. And not every emotion in the room belongs to you, because true awareness isn't about seeing everything. It's about knowing what deserves your attention and what deserves your peace. If you recognized yourself in this video, I want you to remember something. Being highly aware isn't a weakness. The problem isn't that you notice too much. The problem is that you've probably spent years carrying things that were never yours to carry. So, I'm curious, what's one thing you notice that other people always seem to miss? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy exploring the hidden psychology behind human behavior, subscribe to The Wired Mind. Because every week we break down the patterns, habits, and invisible forces shaping the way we think, feel, and behave. Before you go, there's one part of this conversation we didn't fully explore. Many highly aware people spend years scanning the world around them. They notice people's reactions. They notice approval. They notice disapproval. They notice every subtle shift in how others respond to them. But something interesting happens over time. Some of them eventually realize that constantly monitoring what everyone thinks is exhausting. And that's often where a profound psychological shift begins. They stop chasing approval. They stop needing validation from every room they enter. And they start becoming comfortable with being misunderstood. If you've ever wondered why some people genuinely don't seem to care what others think of them, watch our video on the psychology of people who never seek validation. Because once you understand that mindset, you'll discover what many highly aware people spend years trying to learn. Not everything you notice deserves your attention, and not everyone's opinion deserves your energy.